an annoying habit that wound up helping you in a serious situation? I have always been weird about food and drinks for as long as I can remember. I smell everything before I eat it, and I watch bartenders make my drinks, and I won't touch anything that's been out of my sight for more than a minute. My friends think it's annoying, and my family thinks it's exhausting, and every single person I've ever dated has eventually told me I'm too much. I've had guys straight up leave dinner because I asked too many questions about the menu or sent something back that tasted off. My therapist says it's anxiety, and my mom says I've been like this since I was a kid, and I honestly just accepted that this was the thing about me that would keep me alone forever. But then I met Rod. We matched online and talked for 2 weeks, and he was funny and smart and didn't make me feel crazy when I mentioned I was weird about food. He said he thought it was kind of cute that I knew what I wanted, and I really thought this one might actually work out. The date started better than any date I'd been on in years, and I was actively trying to be normal for once in my life. I ordered a drink I could watch being made, and I only asked one question about the appetizers, and I forced myself to relax every time my brain tried to make things weird. He was charming and kept finding excuses to touch my arm when he laughed, and I remember thinking that maybe I had finally found someone who could handle me. About an hour in, he excused himself to go to the bathroom, and I felt good about everything for the first time in forever. I was scrolling through my phone when he slid back into the booth holding a fresh drink and said, "Got you another one since yours was getting low," and my whole body went cold. I stared at the glass because I didn't watch it get made, and I didn't know whose hands touched it. My brain was screaming at me to push it away, but I told myself to stop being insane because this was a nice guy who did a nice thing, and I was about to ruin everything again. I picked it up and brought it toward my lips, and I could feel him watching me, and something made me stop right before it touched my mouth. I set it back down and said, "Sorry, I'm still working on the first one," but he just kept staring at the glass. He asked, "Is something wrong?" And I said, "No, I'm good, way too fast." I lifted the glass and sniffed it without thinking, and when I looked up, his face had changed into something cold before the smile came back, and he said, "It's just vodka soda, same thing you've been drinking all night." I brought it to my lips and pretended to take a sip without letting any liquid actually get in my mouth, and he watched me the entire time. He asked, "Good?" and I said, "Yeah, it's great," and I felt like I was going to throw up from the tension. The next few minutes were excruciating because I kept fake sipping, and he kept glancing at my glass like he was waiting for something to happen. He asked, "Are you not going to actually drink that?" And I told him I was just a slow drinker, and he said, "You've barely touched it though," with an edge in his voice that wasn't there before. I held the glass up to the light because I thought I saw something floating, and he slammed his hand on the table and said, "Oh my god, can you stop being such a freak for 5 seconds?" A waitress appeared out of nowhere and grabbed the drink right out of my hand and said, "I am so sorry, but I made this completely wrong. Let me fix it for you." My date shot up so fast, his chair flew back and hit the booth behind us, and he shouted, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" The waitress didn't flinch and said, "There's something wrong with this drink, sir." He stepped toward her and said, "I paid for that and nobody asked you to touch anything," and his whole demeanor had shifted into someone I didn't recognize. Just then a manager appeared and said, "Sir, we need you to go immediately." And then 2 more staff members showed up to escort him out. He looked around at all of them like a trapped animal, and then back at me with pure hatred and said, "You're all completely insane," before he shoved past them and slammed the door hard enough to shake the windows. The waitress knelt down next to me and said quietly, "I saw him put something in your drink while you were on your phone. The police are already on the way." I sat at that table for 20 minutes after everything was over. The thing about me that made everyone leave was the only reason I hesitated long enough for someone to help me. I always thought my brain was broken, but maybe it was just trying to protect me this whole time.